Anthony Phillips talks about that huge leap that Genesis took from their first album in 1969, from Genesis to Revelation, to Trespass the following year in 1970. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music. Some fans look at that first Genesis album, From Genesis to Revelation, and say, no, that sounded like Genesis. It was basically all the guys. But others like me kind of look at Trespass, the second album from 1970, and say, it kind of sounded like a different band. Kind of sounded like the same members performing in a more experimental different band. I talked to Anthony Phillips about those first two albums. By the way, from the first album in Genesis to the second, so that was obviously a conscious choice to change the sound, because they sound at times like two different bands.
I think it's just a passage of time. I mean, the first album was done as the end of a period of two pairs of songwriters just getting together and trying each other's songs. You know, the piano-based ones, the guitar-based ones, and more than that. The second one is the result of being on the road for a year and developing a style with much more dynamics, light and shade, experimenting very much so with the organ for Tony, which he hated to start with because piano at that stage was impractical on the road. So there was much more instrumental experimentation, much longer forms, much heavier, things like The Knife and Looking for Someone. And obviously we were doing things with a much grander suite. We have actually, funnily enough, done some quite long stuff in the early days, but Jonathan King didn't like it. And he wanted to pare us down to short songs to have hits, which is fair enough, because that was his métier. But we kind of reverted to type, really, when we went on the road, and we had to choose songs that were going to be not just little gentle sing-alongs, because we weren't doing folk clubs. You know, we had to be doing some big dynamic stuff. And so Court of the Crimson King was quite a strong influence in terms of, you know, power and drama, and it encouraged us to try and go for bigger guns. But at the same time, we were going down a path which I think was exclusively our own, but the 2 12-string thing with some of Tony's organ sounds, like on Stagnation, was quite different to what most people were doing. I mean, you could probably compare it to some of the quieter bands, maybe like Incredible String Band and a few others, but our combination was quite different. So I think it was really the difference between the two albums in summation is a songwriter's album and then a proper live band's album, really, with much, you know, influenced by being interesting and dynamic and changing time signatures and stuff to appeal to an audience whose attention span is going to be small, because we weren't playing concerts. Yeah. You know, we were playing people that were milling around, so you've got to grab their attention. Yeah. So we got heavier. We had to get heavier in order to get their attention.
I remember Peter White, who played with Al Stewart, the guitarist. Once I was at a Jazz Awards backstage with him, and he says, you know, I saw Genesis in their, he says, playing at a town hall or something. I forget what he told me.
Yeah, you bet. Yeah. Really basic to start with. Well, so they should be. I mean, you know, nobody knew it.
Strings of Light is the new Anthony Phillips album. It's a guitar album, first new album in 7 years. And on our sister channel, we look at the track by track of that album. We play a lot of the music, and Anthony Phillips talks about the individual tracks. Make sure you check it out. There's links in the description of this video. And make sure you subscribe to that channel too. More from Anthony Phillips next week. Make sure you comment on our videos, subscribe to our channel, and share our videos. I'm John Beaudin from Rock History Music.